So Malaiz Daud, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Junaid. Thank you, EFSAS, for the invitation. I'll just go straight to my slides. So what I will present today is the importance of financial resources to terrorism. And then I'll go to the Taliban's financing, so I'll draw a typology of that, and then I'll have some concluding remarks there. Please. When I got the invitation, I looked at some of the literature on terrorism and terrorism financing, and what I found out was that in the literature, they say that financial resources are important for terrorist attacks, obviously, and for sustaining the organization of so-called terrorist organizations and some support activities. Like in the case of Taliban, they have this office in Qatar, but also they have broad presence in social media, so they're paying people to have those support activities. Whereas from the perspective of social movements and contentious politics studies, we have dedicated area for resource mobilization. So there's a theory and a whole bunch of scholars working from this perspective, basically saying that if organizations have access to resources, then that is a key precursor for the onset of insurgencies. And obviously financial resources are key, as well as human resources, knowledge, and so on and so forth. I'll be very fast. I'm using for this presentation the framework of Michael Freeman's typology. He says that you have 4 strands of terrorism financing. You have state sponsorship, like in the case of Pakistan. You have illegal activity, criminal nexus. We have legal activity, and in some cases, popular support. How does it translate in the case of Afghanistan? I've now also, so I'm adding another dimension by talking about the internal sources of financial support, transnational ones and external ones. So when it comes to state sponsorship, that would come as a surprise to some people, but those who are involved in the affairs of Afghanistan know that some of the contracts of NATO forces, especially the Americans, have benefited financially the Taliban. So transporting goods from one part of the country to the next, the people who are responsible for that, they would pay off the Taliban in order to transport the goods of the international forces. And then you have, so that could also be transnational, because the goods of the international forces come through Pakistan, and in Pakistan there are also levies charged on them informally. External support, you have Pakistan as the main supporter of the Taliban, but there's evidence of Iran supporting the Taliban financially, and obviously Russia came in the picture some years ago, around 2015, when ISIS took hold in Afghanistan. And now we have the office in Qatar. We've had it for a few years. So basically funding that office also comes as financial support. When it comes to illegal activity, after I was invited to this event, I started speaking to relatives and friends in Afghanistan to know the real experiences of people. I know there's a lot of literature on this, but I wanted to know what they have experienced, on people that they know who have experienced getting involved with Taliban in terms of financing of their activities. Extortion is huge, so there will be Taliban basically showing up at your business, asking for money. At the same time, they would spend the night at your house, ask for food, but also ask you if you have money, and they will take that. Kidnapping is a big problem, and the irony is that most of their emissaries are based in Kabul, so they will be negotiating the release of those who have been kidnapped in Kabul, where the government has presence, and obviously no one can believe that is happening there. So you have petty crimes. They will take your mobile phone and everything else that you own, and then you have what you call over or double taxation. This is something that I was told by a member of our National Security Council, basically saying that in some cases Taliban would tax the tractor you own, the land you own, the land you cultivate, and in excess of a lot of money. And when it comes to transnational aspect of it, you have narcotics, which Dorothy already mentioned. You have mining, lumber trade, and conscription fines. So you have families based in Pakistan, they have to provide foot soldiers to the Taliban. If they cannot do it, then they'll have to pay a certain amount of money. But at the same time, there are regions in Afghanistan that are in Taliban control. If you cannot provide a young man to fight for you for a year, then you will have to pay a certain amount of money. That was already happening when Taliban were in power. I come from the southeast of the country, and Taliban are predominantly from the south of the country. So they had their support base there, but they would take young men from our villages with them, and if you couldn't afford it, or you didn't have young men in your family, then you would have to pay, back then, 100,000 Pakistani rupees. There's a really good book on the transnational aspect of this by Bonnet Rubin, The Fragmentation of Afghanistan, where he talks about the important role of informal transnational networks, specifically the networks, the way they influence the politics and economy, both in Pakistan and Afghanistan. But the Taliban are also also have legal activities from which they make money. They have stakes in businesses in Afghanistan, and the most interesting case to me was that in Taliban control areas, what they do is they have a deal with the government. So the government is going to pay the budget of schools, hospitals, clinics. The Taliban will have the authority over spending that money. Like the school is run by the Taliban, but the government will pay the money, and the Taliban will decide who is going to be the teacher, the school headmaster, and so on and so forth. So there is this arrangement. When it comes to the transnational aspect of it, Taliban are known to have stakes in businesses predominantly in Pakistan, but also in some of the GCC countries, so UAE, Saudi Arabia, and so on and so forth. And then you have externally, there are also, I am not sure about this, but this is more rumors that even the Afghans who own businesses in Europe and the US, who have this pro-Taliban, who are pro-Taliban, they have Taliban's money and they've invested it in these countries. Then you have the important role of madrasas, which have been there for centuries, especially the Deobandi line of madrasas. And you have small donations. So in Pakistan, you would see small kids standing next to the roads and asking for donations for madrasas, which actually is not small scale, it's a lot of money. And then you have these fundraising tours by the heads of these madrasas who go to GCC countries. They raise funds and they come back, and then they run their madrasas, and the madrasas supply Taliban with human resources. When it comes to popular support, I haven't come across any evidence that in Afghanistan people willingly are paying Taliban any money to conduct terrorist activities. But there are, like in the case of Karachi, there's a place called Haji Camp. There are Afghan businessmen, and normally they have fundraising. Thank you. So they have fundraising activities, and they pay the money, and also there are Afghan and Pakistani businessmen in the GCC countries, and even Europe and the US, who are raising funds for the Taliban. And of course, then there are funds from the Arab sheikhs to the Taliban. That's been going on for a long time when it comes to the Afghan side too. Last slide, please. Okay, so concluding remarks. The Taliban's financial base is broad and diverse, so it's difficult to target and dismantle. Taliban's Finance Economic Commission is one of the two most important commissions, the military commission being the other one. So it underpins the importance of financial resources to the Taliban. Informal transnational networks, as I already mentioned, are key in mobilizing and moving financial resources through Hawala system. And then when it comes to budgeting, expenditure, and accounting for what you've spent, so we have a centralized system of this commission being based in Quetta in Pakistan, but then you also have field commanders deciding how much money they dedicate to certain activities. There are allegations of misuse by the leadership. After Mansour was the former head of the Taliban, the supreme leader, he was known for his lavish lifestyle. And also the field commanders, particularly the Afghan government, is now pushing this point, saying, look, this commander had one wife, now he has 3 wives. He had a 1-story house, now he has a 3-story house. So he made money from insurgency. And then when somebody is killed, a Taliban member is killed, normally they will send some money with a certificate to the family saying, your son was killed and this is a reward for you. Of course, limited statehood or ungoverned spaces play a big role in addition to state sponsorship and formal transnational networks for mobilization of financial resources. Availability of financial resources may not have spurred the Taliban movement, but absence of them will gravely affect the operational capacity of the movement. But again, it's extremely difficult to dismantle the whole infrastructure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Daud.